How would their next partner get treated after they leave you right away and jump into another relationship? This is something that comes up a lot for victims of narcissistic abuse, is questions around the new supply. It's painful and confusing because the optics to the victim is that the abuser is treating the new supply better than they treated you. Guys, the new supply has been manipulated in the same way that we were. It is not that the new supply is better than you in any way. They've simply fallen for the same act that we did. The narcissist mask is on and cinched up tight. They need to secure new supply, and as such, they're going to be on their best behavior, love bombing for all to see. And just like they probably weren't honest with you about where they were and what they'd been doing, they're not being honest with the new supply either. And any story that they tell the new supply about how recently or not recently they've been involved with you is going to paint you as the villain, as the crazy person, as the problem. Because remember, a narcissistic person can never be the villain. They always have to be the hero or the victim. So their story about you and what happened is going to paint them in such a light. That's why when I first got involved with Peggy, the story he told me about his ex and other exes that I would catch on to later is they all cheated on him. He was a victim. It was a big sob story that sucked me in and created a connection between us very quickly because my husband had had an affair. So I felt like he understood me. And if it seems like they're treating the new supply better, of course they're going to paint a beautiful picture to the world, to the new supply, and to you. And there's reasons why they do this. They show them off. It helps boost their ego. This is their shiny new toy, and receiving validation from anyone about the relationship is just going to feed into their ego, that they're superior. Controlling the narrative is very important to them. They don't want to be exposed, so they need to portray the story in the best light possible using this new supply. Even if you were discarded by the narcissist, the end of the relationship is very dysregulating for them. So they need to secure new supply and show them off to regulate their emotions. And this public display of the new supply to the world proves to themselves and to others that they're valuable, loved, and in control. Which is really the overarching theme of everything that an abuser does. Power and control over everyone and everything in their environment. They're controlling the narrative and the people watching. They're controlling the new supply, love bombing them, making sure they're pretty on display so that that trauma bond forms. And most importantly, they still want control of you. They were psychologically torturing you in the relationship, and they're continuing to try to torture you outside of the relationship. Flashing their new toy around keeps you emotionally invested, which is exactly what they want, because then you might be an option for them later. And rest assured, eventually the new supply will go through the same cycle of abuse that you did. It's almost like passing the baton. Here you go. Now you understand what I went through. And that person, that victim, will watch the abuser do the same thing again. Find a new person, jump really quickly into the relationship, and seemingly treat them really, really well, at least to everybody watching. So just know, it's not that the new supply is being treated better. The abusers told them whatever story they need to tell them to get them sucked in so they have supply and so they can maintain power and control over everything and everyone.